Doing another live stream today. This is a new series called Tech Support with Coach Steve Money. And I'll be doing most of the stuff I'll be doing on Reddit, probably answering Reddit tech support questions in the tech support forum. Let me show you here. Reddit.com/r/tech support. /new. Also, if you just go to the tech support, r/tech support, and click on the new right there, you can sort by new. So a second ago, what up, CP? I'm just trying out a new thing here. Appreciate your support as always, sir. And if you like my YouTube banner and my YouTube chat icon, they were designed by Mr. Pittman. That's designed by Pittman. Pittman at, I'll just type it in again, at gmail.com. Designed by Pittman at gmail.com. There you go, and you can get a lovely swag from him. He does like hats and t-shirts and stuff as well. So if you need any branding, he is your man. Alright, so in this I'm going to mostly probably be answering questions here posted on Reddit, but sometimes I'll do other things, like if some things come into the shop, maybe I'll do it in this manner, live streaming it, instead of just making a video on my phone, which I had been doing. So a little bit ago, I logged in and I hit new, and the one at the top was this one, the internet question as far as DSL cable. Says I have a separate internet plan. Oh no, me and a roommate have AT&T Uverse, which is DSL internet and cable TV. He says, I have a separate internet plan through Spectrum and was wondering if it would be possible to install my cable modem here and get internet working. I tried plugging it into an active cable outlet, but it never got connection. I'm assuming because there is AT&T TV service already. Just wondering if there is a way to get both of our ISPs in the same house. That's Internet Service Provider is what ISP stands for. I'm ignorant in this subject, so I really appreciate any help. Thanks. And so a couple other people have weighed in, and we'll go over those as well. But I answered Spectrum would have to set up to come into your house. Would have to, that was badly typed out by me, but basically Spectrum would have to set it up to come into your house from a line from their box outside the building. It would be possible to have both services, but I did not type good at all. Did not type well at all on this. But they would be on separate lines coming in from outside. Once inside, both services would also have to connect to different routers if you wanted both wired and unwired access in multiple rooms with the multiple services. So they'd have to be separate. You can't have them both going into the same router. You can do, there's probably a way to do it, but you'd have to get like a special box to be able to do that, to have two different internet sources coming in and be able to like switch back and forth between them, etc., etc. But you wouldn't be able to, control like which one you wanted to go to, unless you like shut one off and used one, and then did vice versa. But the way to separate them out would be different routers, and then you have different, for like Wi-Fi, they would be different network names that you would connect to. So let's see. Another person said you need to have Spectrum come into your home, install a splitter, so they can split AT&T service and Spectrum service. But this is only if AT&T is using the coaxial for TV service and not the DSL modem for digital TV. That's true. The DSL lines are different than the coax lines that come in to bring in cable TV and internet. From like Spectrum uses coax. unless it's their fiber, which is better, obviously faster. But let's see. If they're using coax and not the DSL modem. If it's the latter, then a Spectrum tech still needs to come to your home to connect to your home for service and provision your modem. Yeah, they have to set it up at each individual address. They could possibly do it without you being there, but it would, like, inside your home would already have to be set up for a specific place for you to plug in your modem. And then you could call them, and then they could provision it from the office. And the other person said, Uverse TV is over internet, not cable. Right, he's just saying basically the same thing. If Spectrum provides service in your area, they can probably hook you up, but just moving the modem isn't going to work. They have to specifically set it up for your address, right, just like I said. And yeah, they have to. It also has to be a deal where sometimes, like in certain apartment buildings and stuff like that, they only allow one provider in that area. And so I'm getting ready to move. I need to find out what my options are. So that was one of them there. And like I said, I've already done this. I don't know how this is going to work if I'm going to be having to type it and talk at the same time. I don't know how this will work. Maybe I'll just say it. I got some specs here. PC crashing. Let's see. I'm going to just try to... Crashing on booting and waking up from sleep. Start out mild. The waking up from sleep, there could be a driver not completely compatible with sleep mode. But the crashing on booting would be a different thing. Pressing the power button on the computer boots normally, going past the BIOS splash screen and Windows loads to the user select screen. That's just the login where you put in your username, or just click it if there's no password. But it's a screen that by default will display scenic picture that, yeah, we know that. Okay. Better too much detail than not enough, I guess. After a couple seconds, the computer will hang. Mouse cursor will still move, but clicking, typing won't do anything. If left, blue screen of death. If he lets it run without interrupting it, hangs on the BIOS screen for a while. It enters the BIOS configuration menu and won't boot to Windows. Flipping the switch on the PSU, that's power supply unit, at the back of the computer at any point during this process, and then powering the computer on again fixes this issue until the next time it is powered down, put to sleep. One thing to note is this issue only seems to happen when the computer is left off for a while before turning it back on. Like, it won't do it on restart or if it turns on the computer again after only about a minute. He's tried updating drivers and updating Windows, reflashing the BIOS, power settings in Windows, BIOS settings in Windows, running antivirus PC repair software, reinstalling Windows. Looking for the dump from BSO, this dump file that is basically when you have a blue screen of death, Windows creates a log file that you can look through to see what possibly might have been. Sometimes Windows logs will log a problem, like it'll be able to do that before it locks up. Sometimes it will not. Someone suggested Windows power settings, BIOS settings can conflict. Yeah, that's possible. But it's stopping on the BIOS screen. I would definitely test the hard drive to make sure there's no problem with that. Run a full test on that. You can use Data Lifeguard from Western Digital to test any brand of hard drive. You can do that right from within Windows. Run the full, the extensive test on it. Auto moderate. Oh, that's just an auto answer. Nobody's answered that yet. Okay, so Yeah, I mean that's the normally thing. Yeah, he's tried reinstalling Windows, and I wonder if he had any problem during the reinstallation of Windows. Let me get that. Did you have any? Choose reinstalling Windows. I first do a full test of your hard drive using Lifeguard. Yeah, this typing in and doing it at the same time probably won't work. I will probably have to just talk and then later go in and put in the answers to the questions if nobody else has answered them yet. From Western Digital. And we'll test any brand. Because there is no need. A lot of times the first step is to test the hard drive and RAM if it's a different problem, but like this I would just think the hard drive, because if it is booting straight into the BIOS, then it may have problems seeing the hard drive. So that's generally the first thing to try, and a lot of times people balk at that because they don't want it to be a hardware problem, because then they have to replace the hardware, and they want it to be just a Windows problem. They can just change a setting or update software and have it be fixed. I understand that, but that's not able to be done in most cases. So a lot of times it is gonna be bad hardware, and so you cannot fix a Windows problem if it's on a bad hard drive. It's a waste of time to do it, because even if you can somehow fix whatever error is happening with the software, because there's being corruption is happening on a bad hard drive, and so if you can somehow fix the file or files, or process that's the problem, then you still have the possibility of something else happening wrong because it's a bad hard drive, so eventually something else is going to corrupt. So that would be your waste of time. That's why you want to make sure you have good hardware. Now you can also run into a situation, which I've had this several times in my 30 years, coming up on 30 years of PC repair, and it's happened enough for it to be a thing where the hard drive will even test good. And so it tests good, and then you try to do a fresh install of Windows on it. That's also your basically, because if you try to do a fresh install of Windows on it, you don't have anything else on the drive. Nothing else can be the problem. And if you have you're doing a fresh install of Windows, and there's some kind of error or something during that, then you got bad hardware. Now granted, it could be a problem with if you have a flash drive that you're installing Windows from, could be some corruption on that. It could be a bad flash drive, but outside of that, if your flash drive works on a different computer, fine, then it's most likely going to be a problem with your hardware, and most often it is going to be the hard drive. Even still, a lot less times with the new solid state drives, which are basically like big flash drives, where just the memory is on the circuit board itself. There's no spinning disk like the old hard drives were. And I probably let's see, what part did I not say in there before getting distracted? I get excited about this stuff, and so I could talk forever about it. The definitive test is if you have the same computer and you take out a hard drive you think may be bad, and you put a different hard drive in it, and you can install Windows fine, then the problem is that hard drive. whether or not it tests good or not. And I've had that happen several times where it would test good, but then it still would not work in that computer. And the chances of there being some kind of problem where that motherboard just didn't like that particular hard drive, very, very slim. So that's the deal on that. All right, so fine. And so then once we do that, and I'll check in a bit to see if dude answered about the Windows installation. So we click new again. Is that working? There it goes. Took a second. All right. Let's see. RX 5600 XT seems to frequently freeze up my PC while it's idle. That would be an AMD video card. It's brand new. Doesn't mean anything. Electronic device can last 1,000 years. Not 1,000. But it can last many, many years. Or it can be bad right out of the factory. So the fact that it's new, you know, you would like to think it would be less the case. Not the case that often, but it does happen sometimes. Freeze a PC and has to restart it. Also, sometimes an error message saying that the driver is timed out and it recovers automatically. And really, after restarting, there was an error message from BIOS saying there was a boot failure detected, and the previous settings in the BIOS may not be compatible when running it. It usually happens when there's no heavy load, like MSI Combustors benchmark running. Never heard that. I guess it's just a benchmark. It's a stress test kind of thing for a video card. Also, some time ago, the only HDMI output on the card stopped working, and I have a second GPU hooked up to my second monitor. Alright, well, if you have a card that has one piece of it bad, it's possible the problem is spreading to other parts of it, and it could be interfering with other parts of it. So that's the thing to do. If you take out that card and you just use the other card, then the problem's that card. You could, if it's brand new, you could take it back to wherever you got it, or send it back and get a replacement for it. So yeah, you said some time ago the only HDMI output. It was some time ago, then it's not brand new. Unless brand new just means, in this case, he just means that he bought it brand new and it's not brand new anymore. So hopefully you can still take it back. So, but that's what I would do. If you have any kind of problem like that where a new device you're putting in does not work correctly, and an older device of a similar kind, like in this case the old video card works fine, yeah, you gotta take it back and get a replacement for it. Also on these though, the video driver packages are notorious for causing problems, both AMD and NVIDIA. So you can try running just although the Windows versions of those that would like install automatically, the Windows versions also include some of the built-in extra stuff that the manufacturer packages put in those video cards as well, and so it's not as clean a thing as if in the old days you would just use the video, the Windows built-in driver, and that wouldn't have any of the extra junk in there, and so that was great for troubleshooting stuff. So, but anyway, what he tried is reinstalling the drivers without DDU. That's device driver uninstall, I think it stands for. Installing the GPU, that's graphics processing unit. That's basically the chip on the video card. Installing it on the second PCIe slot. That's a PCI Express, that's where it fits in on the motherboard. Using only one GPU at a time, no issue on the R9 280K. That's a different AMD video card, an earlier one, and so not having any problem with that. Problem with the new one, I think the problem is going to be with the new one. He's also changed out the power supply unit, which if it's a newer card, it may require a more heavy-duty power supply unit, but a lot of times they are actually, the newer ones actually can use less power now that they're being made different ways and such. All right, I'll check on that later to make sure somebody else is taking care of that person. Yeah, this is probably very nerdy doing this when I could be doing something else. But I like it, obviously. You hear me talking about it. Let's see, crackling noise. Hello, just wanted to go into the subreddit to get help with a problem I've been having. Well, I have the squeaking noise on my chair that I haven't looked into yet. I do need to look on that. Tina Share has offered to buy me she wanted, probably joking, she wouldn't know how much money she needed to send me to get the squeak to go away. Let's see, could you send me a new chair, like a new $500 gaming chair? Tina Share, you listening? To get help with a problem I've been having. I've had these crackling sounds happen when I'm listening to music, watching videos with headphones and laptop speakers. So far, I've tried updating and unplugging headphones, but to no luck. Laptop is on each. That could be you screwed up the headphone jack on it, which also that's what you would be. Oh no, it says you have the problem in the laptop speakers as well. Oh, that could be the sound card that's built in on the motherboard. What I would try to see is if you can eliminate the problem by if you have a friend or family member that has USB speakers or USB headset. I would try to use that so you're not using that jack, to see if the problem's with that jack. But it happening from the built-in laptop speakers doesn't have anything to do with the jack, really. I mean, it's all interconnected, but yeah, that's what I would try, just to eliminate anything that's built into the laptop, except for it will use the sound card and then the USB system to get that music or audio to your headset when you use the USB headset. So that's what I would try with that, to try to eliminate. That's troubleshooting. You try to eliminate stuff, and then you're left with only a couple things to try. It's easier. So elimination first usually. Let's see. Computer flickering and restarts. Hey, I'm currently having a really bad issue with my PC where the screen flickers and restarts entirely. People checking me out. Oh no, my mistake. I thought it was somebody else chatting, but it was the window behind it on my chat app. I'm using Restream to go to both Twitch and the YouTube. So there you go. And the Restream chat app pulls in both chats from both places. Screen flickers and restarts entirely. Apps also go black for a split second and games are crashing too. Here's the thing though. I've ruled out that it's not a GPU, or bad English there, that's alright. But if you've ruled it out, you've ruled out that it is a GPU or PSU issue, not that it's not. If you've ruled out that it's not, then it could be still, because double negative. Okay. Well, it's not. He thinks it's not a GPU or PSU issue since you've replaced both of those. Okay. I like this. Screen flickers and restarts entirely. I also have done a full system factory reset. It could very much be a RAM or motherboard related issue, but not quite sure. Yeah, one or the other. Do a full test with MemTest 64. You can use that to test the RAM right within Windows itself. But yeah, I've done a full system factory reset, so that would seem to eliminate it being a software problem. So yeah, if I had to guess between RAM and motherboard, I'd say motherboard, unfortunately. But definitely test the RAM. If it's not but you know, if you replace the video card and the power supply, and if you eliminate the RAM as a possibility, that the RAM tests fine, then all you're left with motherboard and processor. And processors generally don't go bad. Normally, if it's processor or motherboard, it's going to be your motherboard. Alright, how long have we done here? I don't have to look at the time. What is it, 9 o'clock? Get used to that timer in YouTube Studio, and I don't have one, I don't think, in Streamlabs OBS. Do we have one? We do not. It doesn't. Looks like not. Alright. Okay, second modem possible. Oh, this same person. I was wondering if it'd be able to install a second modem on the cable line, or that it would fail because we have a DS modem hooked up. Basically, I want a modem in my room for internet connection. So he wants it directly so he gets the full speed, I'm guessing. So the laptop would be the only thing using the internet from this modem. Yes, you can do that. You'd have to get them again to hook up the connection. If you already have the account and it's active, you have to change it to that address and get them to hook it up from the street, wherever, underground, wherever. Comes from, basically it comes from Spectrum and goes, wherever wires go, and ends up in a box at your apartment or near your house or whatever. And so then there has to be a line coming into your house. Normally that's going to be like to a basement or something like that. Now you can have it, you can take that and then put a splitter on it, an extender on it, to get that coaxial line to go all the way to your room. To get it to go in there, you're going to have to thread it through, just, through the walls and stuff like that, or just have it being loose, or just have it come in from the window outside. Not the best solution, but I'm just telling you that's basically what has to happen. And then that plugs into the modem, which is going to sit right on your desk, right next to your laptop. So yeah, I think I see where my boy is coming from, because he wants the full speed and is willing to pay for it from the different service. So yeah, so you can do that, but that's what it's going to take. Generally, it will have, like, if rooms are set up, like a bedroom would be set up to receive cable TV, like from back in the day. So this would already even possibly be set up where you have it coming into like in the basement or something like that, and then you normally like where your electrical box is. So it would come in there, and then like in the newer houses and stuff, there's going to be a patch panel in there, which is basically, you know, like for networking. And so you would have it then go and split out to different rooms. Now they may have something, it's just where, like I said, they put a splitter on it and they send it to different places, or an extender and send it to different places. But it could be that there's already a cable there, so that you would pull, like that would be up in the on the rafters, but it would like normally be coming from up above, because it would be threaded through your house to get to your specific room, and then come out and then be hooked into an outlet cover, which has the coax screw on it. So you just got to screw the cable into between that and your cable modem. So, yep, I hear what you're talking about. I hear what you're talking about, my man. Because I would like to do that too when I've shared internet with somebody. So I get it. Let's it's been long enough. Let's go to new again. Can't get rid of WhatsApp pop-up bug bowls. Problem with Samsung. I assume that's a phone problem. I'll leave those for the people better equipped to deal with that. Searching for a good Twitch name. Alright. Catch you clean through the headset cord. Can this be fixed, or do I toss the headset? I mean, you can try to fix it. It's probably, you know, I mean, if it's a $20 headset, get another headset. Somebody live streaming some old football game. That's all. Oh, Tecmo Bowl, awesome. Remember that from back in the day? Cool. I am not allowed to create an account on where? Oh, on Twitch. Then it loaded and said you were creating accounts too quickly, even though this was the first time I tried to create an account. I don't know either, but I can see why they would have fail safes in place for that. All right, hey, look, a computer question. Disk volume partitions vanished. I was playing a game and the game randomly crashed. I went to reboot and the link to all my applications could not be located. I could not open Steam or anything. I went to disk management and noticed my B drive went missing and was labeled disk 3. It did not have any way to format, recreate, or relocate partition. Usually can when you right click. Theory is something got corrupt and it cannot find my partition with its files or the SSD solid state drive again. So he's doing better by not having the spinny drive. You're going to have less problems on it mechanically, because there's no moving parts in it, but they do still fail. But he wants to, or the SSD completely crashed and should be tossed out. I tried to use command prompt to clean and give it a partition, but it only recognized 32 kilobytes. Okay, so the way you tell this is you delete, back up anything you have on the other partitions that are working correctly. But normally, if you have a partition crap out on you, it could be that it just got corrupt from any X number of situations. Could have just gotten corrupted. The main reason for corruption, though, is if there's a problem on the drive. So back up anything you need to that's on it. If it's all your programs and such, if all that was on your B drive, that would not be how it would be set up from the manufacturer. But So you must have done that yourself, and it sounds like you played with partitions before. So back up anything you need, wipe the drive completely, and set it up. You can even try to set it up the same way that you did. You get rid of all the partitions, and then you make sure that it sees every bit of drive space that it's supposed to be. If it does not see all the drive space there, then it's a bad drive. Unfortunately, it does happen. Back up your data. That'll be the catchphrase for the tech support stuff is back up your data. Anything you do not want to lose. Anything that when you get a new computer, you have to think, or anytime you're looking at data. It doesn't matter if it's a new computer, but as far as data, anything, if you have anything, if you are looking at a picture or something like that and you think, wow, if my computer crashed and I couldn't get any of my data, would I be okay losing this? And if not, make backups. Get a flash drive, get an external hard drive, back it up to the cloud. Any number of things you can do, and the more important it is, the more you have it on both your computer and an external hard drive or flash drive and the cloud. The more important it is. So you do that. You don't just ignore it and then realize, oh, that was important to me when it's too late. Pop new again here. Taking time to reload, I wonder why. Tech support. Okay, official malware removal guide. Oh, cool, that didn't support by new, but that's always good. Let's see. Wi-Fi isn't working. I'm not sure if it's because of my ISP or personal network. Essentially what it says in the title. Wi-Fi stopped working this morning. Trying to figure out if it's because of my ISP or my own modem router. Devices can connect to the network just fine, just cannot access the internet. Okay, so what it means normally, like in a non-business setting, like in your house or apartment, when it says it can connect to the network, what it thinks the network is basically the server is your router. So that means you can connect, and the router normally has a fun name, like mine is what did I name it? Something from Big Bang Theory. Oh, Penny Get Your Own Wi-Fi. Sheldon renamed the router that one time and put a different password on it because she was tired of. Sheldon was tired of Leonard letting Penny use it for free. So normally they're like named, fun stuff like that. So, but if it can connect to that, that's what it means by connecting to the network. It's connecting to the router. And so basically what that means is your device is just talking back and forth to the router. It's like, hey, I can see you. Hey, I can see you. But the internet now is a different thing. Devices can connect to the network just fine, cannot access the internet. Tried restarting, good call. Always first thing to do in any case, except for, say, there's, I guess I shouldn't say in any case, but unless there's a data question, like if there's something that you accidentally deleted, you do not want to restart, because that will not get it back, and that will make it worse. Make it less likely you'd be able to recover it. But like any situations like this, or any like graphical glitches or anything like that, restart it and see if it fixes it. Tried to restart any and all routers, modems, to no avail. Tried to ping other devices on the network using command prompt, which worked. So yeah, so that means that it's going from your computer through the router to the other device, and it's saying, hey there. So and back and forth so they can see each other. Also use the command prompt to flush renew IP address, which basically that's what happens when you unplug it and plug it back in. But that didn't fix the problem. According to my parents, we use Frontier satellite, not cable. Is there anything we can do besides calling the ISP? Yes, you can take a laptop or set up your computer right next to the modem, not the router, because the router works fine. At least on your end of it. The router may have a problem where the internet goes into the router. So what you can do is connect a laptop, or like I said, even if you have to set your desktop up next to the modem temporarily, just a second, unhook the modem from the router and plug it directly into your computer, the network cable. So, and obviously easier to do with a laptop because you can just take it over there. You don't even have to plug it into power if your battery works. And see if you get internet from just the modem. If you don't get it from just the modem and you've tried restarting the modem, then you got to call the ISP because it's on them at that point. Let's see. New M.2 causing kernel error on desktop. Oh no. M.2 is a solid state drive. It's that's like a thinner. It's a thinner, longer circuit board. It's kind of like a flash drive with the cover off of it. It's longer and it's really thin, and it has the memory on top of it. But that's your another solid state drive type, and that's seems to be like most common in new computers using those. For a while they had bigger ones that were like that, and then they would put them in a laptop and the old spinny drive laptop casing basically, and have it go that way. But now they have it where they just have the small circuit board and they connect it directly to the. If I was at work, I could show you, but I don't have one of those handy. I don't even have one of those myself. Mine is old enough where it's in one of those cases, and you can still get those. They're not out of style. They're still good and not that expensive. Like at Micro Center, a 1 terabyte house brand at Micro Center SSD is a SATA SSD. It's $119, I think. $109 maybe. So not that expensive to get the wonders of SSD. And also, if you have an older computer and you would spend a little bit of money to make it run faster and not a bunch, and you're not ready to buy another computer, mileage is going to vary depending on how old it is and what specs are in it, obviously. But if you have a decent amount of RAM and a decent processor in it, and if you're playing games, if you got a decent video card in it, but you have one of those old spinny drives, it'll be night and day for you if you switch over to a solid state drive. There's my chair squeaking. I get distracted again. That happens. I have a SSD as my OS drive. That means operating system, and just got a new M.2, the Crucial brand, P5. I guess that's a model number of theirs. 500 gigabyte for games and all. 500 gigabyte, roughly half a terabyte. Was getting a blue screen of death on install. Eventually installed drivers and got it to boot. Okay, so if you're trying to chest, there's nothing else on the drive. If you're trying to chest install Windows, and you're getting blue screen of death, you got problems already. So there's no need to like keep on trying and doing it over and over again. And oh, it finally works this time. And he said, oh, he installed games and played games and it was fine. Restarted PC later on that day and not. Oh, and now it is blue screen of death on desktop again. So lost with this as it works in safe mode. Well, safe mode doesn't involve a bunch of stuff that when you boot normally you get. So safe mode could be keeping whatever the problem is from happening. But generally, blue screen of death install. If you cannot install Windows without getting a blue screen of death, you need to eliminate whatever the bad hardware is, because there's definitely bad hardware. I mean, like I said before, in an outlying case, you could possibly have a bad flash drive that you're installing from, which is making the Windows installation files corrupt. That could be a problem. That's an outlying problem. But if that's not the problem, then it's a hardware problem with something you're doing. And if you didn't have any problems on your computer at all before putting in that new M.2 drive, then I'd say it's the M.2 drive. I would remove it and put in back your other SSD. Oh, I see. He's just using that for storage. But he said he eventually installed drivers. Oh, I guess not on not in Windows. I guess just maybe drivers for the hard drive. Okay. All right, yeah. So I guess he was just using that for data, like to install games, so it can access the games quicker. Like a lot of people use, since they're more expensive, they use an SSD, a small SSD, solid state drive, for the operating system for Windows or Mac. But I'm gonna mostly talk about, like almost exclusively talk about Windows. Now the Windows on the SSD, and they are more expensive than the old spinny drives, but then they get like a 5 terabyte spinny drive, and that works fine because it takes longer to get the data than it will from the solid state drive. But if you're using it just for data storage and to install games on it, the only time you're going to be limited by it is if you're pulling the game data off of it. And so while that's loading into memory, you're going to have problems. And if during the game, not problem, you're just going to have the delay that it takes, that longer than a solid state drive. All right, very rambly here. So a lot of people do that. They have both. They have a solid state drive for the operating system, and then for data and like installing big games and stuff, they use a spinny drive. But anyway, he got another solid state drive to put his games on, so he wouldn't have that delay. But apparently it has problems. So again, that's the first thing you look at. I know people never want it to be their brand new item that they just bought. But if you had zero problems in your computer, and you get this new secondary hard drive to start putting stuff on, and you just put it in and try to boot up, and you get a blue screen of death, what you do immediately is you take that out and boot up many times and keep playing without it and see if you have any problems. And if you don't, the problem's the new thing you just stuck in. But people always like to normally they like to try to troubleshoot and, oh, what's wrong with it? Oh, well, what could be the problem? That's the same thing about anything. You're like too close to the situation because you just bought it, you want it to work. And so me being not that person, although I have been that person that's bought stuff, and I have done that before, which was a mistake because it did end up being the bad new item. All right, let me try to do one more. I feel like I could have been going for 30 minutes so far or for 3 hours, so I have no idea what kind of time. So I'll just do one. Nobody's, Chris Pittman said hello when I first started. Maybe nobody's in, okay. Maybe nobody is interested in this. We'll see. We'll see if I get any views on it. This one, the guy reposted. Try to reload this. Oh, here we go. Okay. GPU OC question. Graphics processing unit. That's a video card. OC means overclocking. So, I've been a bit of an average overclocker, trying to min-max my FPS whilst keeping decent graphics to keep the games I play enjoyable, and I've been wondering lately, having noticed weird tendencies with my GPU. Alright, so overclocking, that means there's software where you can change like how much, let's see how to explain this. Basically, you can change like voltages and stuff and try to wring out a little bit more power from your video card. Is how to explain it to a person that doesn't know anything about it. But that's basically what you can do. So the card doesn't ship like that. I mean, some of them have OC in the title of them and their model numbers, and that means you can overclock them. But in general, I'd advise most people to stay away from that because you can run into problems. And if this guy is going to say like he's had problems with it, get rid of your overclocking and run it at the normal settings and see if it works fine. And if it works fine, the problem is overclocking it. So let me just scan it and see what he has here. Usually it's okay. It's got a decent overclock preset, which is plus 180 on the core clock and plus 1300 on memory clock, whilst keeping stock power limit to reduce heat. Okay, so he's not making it. Oh, well, it could be warming up still because of the higher core clock and memory clock, but the power being used is the same. He says. Usually GPU stays around 68 Celsius, whilst memory temp can be average around 85 C. It is a dual fan GPU, so it's expected it's a little warm even after new decent thermal pads. Now here's what I'm wondering. Whilst gaming on my GPUs, it's around blank and blank and blank. Can do it all day, virtual reality, no problems. But when I'm in desktop playing, say, Dying Light at 4K Ultra, that means that's like the best video settings you can get. That means heavy duty. If my GPU hits 98 to 99% utilization, even with the temps still at 68, it drops the clock down to 1995 to 2010. But when it goes down to 95% utilization, it goes back to 2055 megahertz. Okay. No artifacts, no issues at all. So I'm just curious if it's downclocking due to me limiting power draw to 100%. Could be. It could be downclocking to that. It could be downclocking to try to save the video chip from frying. Who knows? Yeah, it could be. I mean, they can build it however they want, so they can have that safeguard in there. Even though you're overclocking it, they can have that built in there. All right. So generally, like I said, for most people, I would say do not overclock. All right, one more. I keep saying one more. Is there anywhere you can buy the back plastic for what is that? For a 5G? I don't know what that is. Find the part anywhere. Let's see what this is. You highlight it and then you right click and then left click, search Google for that model number. And that is oh, it's a phone. Okay. Oh, and he wants the back piece of it. Yeah, some of that stuff you just can't find sometimes. A lot of my advice is, hey, just, don't do that. But no, sometimes you can't find it. You can't find it, and I run into that problem all the time at my computer repair job. So, like recently, we had, and I made a video about it, about a bad design on the laptop for the power button. And the little replacement power button, which has like a little plastic piece, and then it you push it and the plastic piece inside hits the actual switch that turns the computer on and off. But the design of it makes it so that if you overuse the thing or do it too hard or something, it can snap. The plastic can snap, and so couldn't find that little piece anywhere. I've had it before, and I have that problem before, and I did find one on eBay, but the client decided not to repair the computer, so because it was a little bit older, and so we didn't order that one. But this time when I looked, I couldn't find anywhere. And it's a HP computer, I think, HP or Dell, I can't remember. But bad design, and they've both had designs like that before where we've run into that problem. And that's the thing where you can't put a little crazy glue on it to glue it back together, because that's only going to last so long, and it's going to put more stress on the other side of it, which would then snap. So blue screen of death, error happening once a month. If it's once a month, do you worry about it? Or but let's see. Had a 16 gigabyte kit of RAM. I guess that's like 2/8 is what they mean, 2 gigabytes, and that's called a 16 gigabyte kit. Switched it out with stock 8 gigabyte stick the pre-built came with. Ever since then, it has not caused blue screen of death errors, so it seemed fixed, right? But I'm getting FPS drops in games, and it sucks to not have the 16 gigabyte kit I paid for. Well, if you take out memory and then you put in the memory that it came with, then the problem is the replacement memory. So, I understand, and if it's my stuff, I want to know why specifically that it doesn't work, especially if I paid for something. I want to know, trust me. But not being too close to the situation, not being personally involved, I'm like, it works with what it came with, and you tried to replace it with something and it didn't work. So maybe not fully compatible. That memory maybe not fully compatible. Look at that. Look at the specs on it to see if it is compatible. I was recently told to put back in the kit because it should work fine. We don't know who he was told by. But the DRAM voltage to 1.4 volts, I think default is 1.2 or 1.3. Oh, to change the, okay. And so when you're changing the voltage to it, you are, basically you're doing the overclock thing again. So, but this is this is RAM instead of a video card. So, but it might not be completely compatible with the motherboard or the other components in the system. But yeah, if you take it out and it works fine, the problem is the thing you took out. And you could always try that memory in somebody else's, a friend or family member's computer, just to check to see if it does it on multiple computers or if it's just yours, that kind of thing. Oh, this is a good one. I'll end it after this because this is a lot of me talking, and I didn't bring a drink. up here with me. And again, are you with me on this? It's bring if you bring it to where I am. Bring here. If I take something away from me, that's take. You don't bring it over there. You take it over there. You bring it here. Take it there. Okay. Let's see. Please hear me out. I think our neighbor somehow hacked into our Wi-Fi on his mom's laptop. Very strange neighbor. Very habitual line stepper type of person. Okay. Mom comes in from the barbecue and tells me that their neighbor has a new grill that she wanted. He never spoke to her while grilling, and even though when he grilled, our neighbor did it earlier before anyone else on the entire block is awake. Though this day is different, he waits. Oh, this is good writing. This is good. This day is different. He waits till my mom is outside, stands next to the grill, and faces my mom. Apparently, he then gestured his hand towards the grill to get her attention to focus on it. My mother didn't know how he knew she wanted it until she realized that she downloaded a picture of it on her laptop. This isn't the first time he's meticulously picked an item out that she's talked about or looked up on her computer and wants her to notice. Other strange occurrences happen too. The same neighbor, and the neighbor across the street has always switched ISPs every time they switch. When we switch to Comcast, they switch no later than the week afterward. We went to Spectrum, next week they switch. Mother and grandmother have reported to me that their account passwords are constantly changed and they don't know how because they didn't change them. Recently, my grandma spoke to a service of hers that she uses. Apparently, whoever keeps changing her passwords, they know the SSN, that's the, I guess social security number. Oh yeah, the other thing I was thinking of, the SSID, I can't remember what that means, but that's the network name of a router, SSID. The email, her phone number, and previous password, etc., etc. Am I bugging out, or is this odd? I'm going to go ahead and say that's odd. That's a lot of coincidences, if that's coincidence. But, yeah, them changing every single time you change, and how do you know that they changed? That's do you see the Spectrum truck at both of their locations or whatever? I'm wondering how you do that. But, yeah, it's a little odd. Yeah, your grandma needs to talk to that service of theirs that she uses and set up a verbal password or something like that with them, so that when she calls to change the password, they ask for that. And so if the person doesn't know that, so unless they're bugging phones too, they wouldn't be able to get through that. So, but yeah, that's weird, and I hope that's not, people are like that, and they try to do that. So anyway, I will end this, and we'll see if there's any type of interest, if it gets any type of views. And we'll see if I keep doing it. Anybody that's watching, I appreciate you watching. And if you'd like a free financial coach consultation assessment, you can email me at, I will type those in, CoachDmoney@gmail.com. And you can donate to the channel, donate via PayPal, https://paypal.me, important to spell links correctly, /Coach D Money, or you can just log into your PayPal account, type in or click send money and then type in coachstevemoney@gmail.com and put in the amount. And it'll get to me that way. And I appreciate anybody that is interested in any of my stuff, and for subscribing and for liking videos and hitting the notification bell so you're aware whenever I'm streaming and running my mouth. I appreciate all that. And I may tweak this a little bit and definitely know how long I've gone, and probably not do more than an hour at a time of this, and maybe figure out better ways to do that so that it's more interesting to you guys than me just reading something on the screen. But I mean, at least you can see what I'm looking at. So there you go. And yes, I'm Coach Steve Money on the Reddit, so you can also get me there. But the best way to, I don't check it every day and I don't have it on my phone, so CoachDMoney@gmail.com is the best way to get in touch with me with any questions about anything. Alrighty. I normally say I'll make smart financial decisions every day, but for this, back up your important data. Have multiple copies of it. Have it on your computer and on an external hard drive and on the cloud. The more important it is to you, the more you should be backing it up.